really want it intense, you can put it closer.
It's more.
Yeah.
It's more if the tank is too deep.
Exactly.
That's when I would use more deep. Yeah.
But it's more like 24 inches.
Over
you know,
24 inches.
Over 24 inches. You want to use lenses for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have
So
this,
you're saying if the tank is only 20 inches tall, you could do away without,
You can do away
You
with
can do
that.
away with-
just do XREs and that's it?
My tank is 20 inches high, and I do use lenses for the blue ones, for the royal blues, 80 degrees, and for the white ones, I'm not using lenses at all. Because I tried them, and it's just too much light. You don't need them. It's
Also,
a
blocks
nice
out light
spread.
too. It's another thing. The moment you put it on the lens, it focuses it, but it feels like it's dimmer, but the light's just as intense coming down. So
Yeah, it's not dim. It's like more intense light.
Penetrate down like a 30-inch tank?
Oh yeah, easily.
yeah, I have mine running. It's almost like 28 inches, and I'm running no lenses on my blues and no problem. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's,
there's good.
the intensity drops. That's the only thing. So apologies.
Without the lens, don't you get a lot of light coming out of the tank?
You will get light on the walls of the tank glass, as well
It's
as
about the same as
Go into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But not that much. Not that
like
much.
this fixture has no lenses, and there's a lot of spread. The moment I go put it onto my tank, there's almost no spread around the tank at all. It's just
So the picture itself, the picture itself can be smaller than the tank. And it's gonna cover the images.
There's no,
I was just gonna say, there's no need for reflectors.
no, there's not.
No,
The lens are the reflectors.
Right.
Yeah, the LEDs are themselves reflectors. There's no light
It's
going
only
around the
diode.
bulb. It sends like a light bulb, so
Yeah,
it just shows
yes.
it's directional.
I know you said 2 inches apart, but you wouldn't have them 2 inches also on the width, in other words, right to the edge of the tank? Or you would stay in?
Oh no, definitely not, because
A couple of rows.
it shines, outwards. So you want to put it at the edge, otherwise, that's, halfway. Yeah, it's maybe half a light. Yeah, I would, like for this size, I wouldn't put a tank that's like this size, opening. It's gonna be a little larger.
Yeah, like, let's say 15 inches of picture, you can go up to like 24 inches, maybe 20 inches of that. So the picture is always smaller than the tank, and it's going to cover up the whole tank, even with lenses. So it looks clean. That's the next advantage of LEDs. It looks clean because the pictures are small, nice, and
And there's no heat going back into your tank.
yes,
That's
exactly.
another great thing about it.
Most
and
of
you
the
never have to
heat is
change out
coming out
bulbs and
well.
spend the money on that. Which it can get pretty expensive once you go through T5s. You're buying 8 bulbs every 6 months.
That's when I switched to LEDs.
And how long are these ones last?
They usually last 5 years. It's about 2 years before they start dropping dramatically in lumen output power rating process. So it's usually 2 years, and you're either swapping out LEDs or usually you make them up.
I know we're talking about grease, but if you want to do a freshwater tank,
Yeah. You could if you want, you could just do all white instead for freshwater. If they don't really go blue.
Or you can mix it with green, red.
Yep.
That's nice.
Which is another thing. You can get LEDs on stars that are 3 up, which have the red, green, blue, and it turns into a white light, which is more natural. Wingo has a few of his pictures set up on the RGB True Color. And they're great. They're great, but the whites it's more that it's like a 4K and a 5K. It's really low K, so it's more of the yellow light that's coming out.
Yeah, it's
So
going to be
freshwater
good for
light is
freshwater.
And they're usually low intensity. They're rated to 5 watt, but they're, one electrical power, a 3 up, it's running like 1.5. So it starts turning to be like a dimmer, low power light. You're not going to get the same solar lumen ratings as a true 3 watt run, also LED. Yeah, so that's take care of. So that's lenses. Dimming and power. Here's the Arduino computer-driven controller. You have your Reef Keeper, the Apex controller, regular pot switches, which is
The easiest method.
the simplest, the easiest.
And they work.
Now, when
You
you're
can
at
dim them. You can dim them up to like from 25% of the power to full power.
They don't go completely down to 5% power.
They don't.
They're very limited. They're very finicky. You're not always going to get perfect when you're going through.
It's easy, but if you have multiple pots, and you want them to be even at not 100%, you're basically just eyeing it and just feeling it. That's it. Whereas if you have a controller, you can actually type in a percentage and whatnot, and bam.
So
that's
if
it.
you don't need very precise dimming, they're good because they're easy to do. Very easy to do.
And once you set these in your phone, then you just leave it alone.
Yeah, unless you want to increase or decrease the yeah.
What is the dimmer?
Yeah, this round thing. Here, that's dimmer.
What is that for the whole unit?
So this is the driver for this buck, which is basically use a transformer like this. There's other transformers available, but this transformer wires to the buck, and the buck has additional 2 wires for going to the LEDs, and the other 2 is for power.
So you have 2 sets of power. You have this power to power this, and you have the big power for the power.
No, this the buck plug is different from the mean well. The mean well needs additional power source for the dimmer. This one does not need additional power source for the dimmer because it just uses the power.
But the meanwhile, you can plug right into the wall.
You know,
Yeah,
So
it
it has
doesn't-
a transformers
yeah,
inside
This
it,
doesn't use
so-
a transformer. It just uses a regular,
So just 2 wires coming out from
It's like a balance
the
of
main
first
wall.
and right.
Yeah.
Same idea.
So it's pretty easy to do.
So it's nice and simple, but there's no control whatsoever, so you're always running full power. Typically, if you want less power, you run a few more LEDs or, some way limit with a resistor on your wiring going through. But
You can limit the current
For simple-
inside the main wall.
yeah,
There's a screw inside the main wall, and you can limit the current so they're not on full
it'll
power.
basically change the max current or the minimum current.
You can change it from like 350 up to 1.2 amperes. Maybe, yeah, 1.5, you're right.
Which is
Give
pretty
that
much
mean
overdriving.
Huh?
give that mean also that's the dimmer.
he does actually. Ming has-
You have it hooked up with
Yeah,
the
yeah. This dimmer is basically, since the dimmer is actually trying to accept a 0 to 10 volt dimmer, basically I didn't want to I have an Apex controller, so since this is 9 volts is 90% of the, since it's up to 10. 9 volts should be 90% of the power.
That's pretty much all the
since
controls are doing is
Once
just
I
bringing the power to
give it the power, 9 volts, this is how bright it is. But, yeah, 90%.
That's 90%.
But then also, since this is 1.2 volt each battery for AA, this should be about 24%. Right?
And it's still bright. So can we use? Yes.
And then you just hook that up with a separate power.
There we go.
Yeah, it's using power run to a pot, run to the, also
this is 24%.
the
So-
drive, that's how it controls whatever you need. The pot's actually linked also over to the driver, which is a controllable driver. You have to have a controllable driver, otherwise it won't work. So when you have that, it'll have a separate output to a pot or a controller, and that's what dims and controls the driver.
That's
and
the
the
P.
power.
Does the meanwhile P?
Uh,
Like 48-TP.
yeah, that's the one.
Mine, I'm using the D.
You're using the D.
The-
D, you want to use the D because with the D, there's a P version too. But it's more complicated to do. So you need like a switching power to.
Yeah, the P is basically how fast you want to turn on and off. It's doing really fast, so your eyes can't really see it because it's turning on and off that fast. And basically, if it's turning on and off slower, it looks dimmer. But as far as the D version is just limiting the power to a certain power, so it's constant. So, I don't know if it's better or worse for the light, but depending on the type of controller, you might need the P or the D version. For the Apex controller, you need the D version. For the Reef Keeper Lite with the Tunzi controller, you need the D version as well. I'm not sure which ones use the P version, but there is certain ones that use the D.
Now, this Apex thing you're talking about, this is the controller that you would buy.
Yep. Basically, the controller would be the replacement of this. So then, instead of using two batteries, you use
Apex.
Apex, and you can control it to your computer, and through the computer as well. They even have an iPhone app, and you can even if you configure your router properly, you can actually control it anywhere in the world.
So you can like dial it in?
No, not download, it's a website. You create your own website, and you go, you know,
So if I'm on vacation or something, I could,
Yep.
I could
You
know
know.
what's going on with my.
You can know, you can do.
yeah. And then you
And them at the same time.
Yeah, you can post.
So, yeah, it gets pretty complicated. Things you can do is,
There's a lot of possibilities. Yeah, you're gonna track your tanks while for vacations.
If you have 36 LEDs, LEDs, running on 3 mean bulbs rather, you said the mean bulb is each is powered, right? By its own, with its own power cable.
Yep.
Yes.
Or you can actually put all three into one if you want.
Okay.
Because it's just really, as long as it has the wall outlet, you can splice it to the, connect it to 3 both well, it's just one outlet.
But if you really run them separately, you can put each one on timer and control them separately.
Right.
That's where you don't want to. Usually you don't want to put them involved.
yeah, it's